Well, not all of the details have come through completely, but what we know so far is that 4 people are dead in London following some kind of terror attack in which a person basically used a car as a weapon and mowed down a bunch of folks there in front of Parliament. And there was a shooting involved and some stabbings, and one of the members of Parliament himself acting as a hero. And, well, look, maybe it's a false flag. Maybe the fact that it happened on the same day, 3/22, as an attack the year before in Brussels, maybe all of that is just coincidental. Maybe it's just a criminal. Maybe it's just somebody on drugs. I don't know. But what we do know is that the world is reacting as if it is a terror attack in London. Also, the latest on the incidental monitoring. This is what one of the congressmen now has said about what happened to the Trump team after the election, that some of their members were, quote, incidentally monitored. They didn't get specifically wiretapped, but they were listened to. This happens all the time to Americans. We are listened to without our knowledge, without our permission, because they've got legal access to do it to people who are having interactions outside the country. Paul Manafort, who was Donald Trump's former campaign chairman, had a plan to, quote, greatly benefit the Putin government. This is something that dates back to at least 2006 when he was paid $10 million to come up with a campaign to influence politics and business in favor of the Russian government. That actually kind of flies in the face of both Manafort's words and the Trump team themselves saying, no, he didn't have any connections to the Russians. Well, apparently he did. $10 million contract, as a matter of fact. John McCain, meeting with the president of Turkey, talking about the issue of Kurds. As you know, the Kurds are a people group that are kind of spread across the Turkish region on into Iraq and into Syria. Well, now they're talking about arming the Kurds in Syria, something that the Turks don't like. Looks like Rex Tillerson is getting a bit of a brainstorming session right now ahead of his visit to Moscow, in which we've got basically all 60-some countries that are currently involved in the fight against ISIS meeting together to come up with a way to unify that fight. Also, a report from Pravda about how the Balkans are once again in a place where they're about to explode. It's been called a powder keg for literally thousands of years. And it looks like the latest one coming from a breakaway from Macedonia, a illegal government. There was a rape at a Maryland high school by a couple of teenagers who apparently are not American citizens. It's causing a bit of a, well, shall we just say, an upset in the immigration debate. And it looks like there was a deadly air raid that hit a refugee shelter near Raqqa. We're talking about dozens of women and children killed. And yes, it was a U.S.-led strike that made that happen. Also, a Mexican family received a, you might call, paltry $1 million settlement after their 16-year-old was forced to drink liquid meth by border agents in order to prove his claim that it was apple juice. Incidentally, he did die from that, and they got a $1 million settlement. Pakistan is currently meeting with Facebook over the issue of blasphemy, saying that Facebook is going to have to do something to prevent it or Facebook will be punished, according to their law. And lastly, there's a new video that NASA has published on their website that somebody has found. It looks to be a live lizard. Yes, this is off the Mars rover Curiosity. And I find it curious that the Russian newspaper goes into this idea of how there could be life on Mars, and nobody's looking at the possibility of, well, maybe the Curiosity isn't on Mars. Just something to, if you're curious, you might want to look into that. That's what we've got today. My commentary has to do with the issue of Uber and Lyft coming to Alaska. Will they get permission? Do they need permission? What do you need permission to do? Something to think about. If you like what I'm doing, please support me on Patreon or by buying a subscription at radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.